How did you sleep last night? So many midlife women are struggling. Do we need sleeping pills? Separate bedrooms? A better mattress? Before you do anything drastic, stay tuned for 5 simple sleep secrets that really work. I know because insomnia drove me crazy through perimenopause, and then the hot flashes decimated any shreds of sanity that were left. Welcome to the Midlife Reset Podcast. This is episode 51, and I'm your host, Cheryl Gordon. This podcast is based on the latest sleep science, but also my own laboratory, my own bed. Each of these 5 secrets are ones that I use and follow religiously to get proper rest. I come from the world of yoga and mindfulness, so I am offering solutions that are holistic and gentle and have stood the test of time. All of what we're discussing today is contained within my signature program, the She Mindfulness. This comprehensive online course provides the information, support, and structure that women like us need to get our lives back on track. But it really does start with sleep, so let's dive in. You've heard the dire warnings, and I don't want to add to all the doom and gloom. You know how shitty you feel when you don't sleep. And I'm going to offer you 5 simple secrets to build better sleep, so don't worry. But we do need to recognize the seriousness of this problem. So many of my clients and friends kind of take a martyr-like view of this. No, well, just my cross to bear. I'm used to suffering. And I say bullshit. Girlfriend, this is just unacceptable. Somewhere along the line, women are fed this crap that if we still suffer and show up for the ones we love, then we are morally superior. And again, I call bullshit. Why is it that women do all the suffering? Where did I sign up for that? Now, here's why your sleep really matters. Number one, metabolic dysfunction. This shows up as weight gain, insulin resistance, even things like diabetes. Because sleep loss directly disrupts blood sugar regulation. When you're short on sleep, your insulin sensitivity drops, your cortisol, which is that stress hormone I'm always talking about, that goes up. Your hunger hormones increase, making like cravings, especially for carbs, really hard to handle. And your fat storage does shift towards the belly. Even one poor night of sleep can raise your blood glucose the next day, regardless of what you're eating. And over time, chronic sleep deprivation significantly increases the risk of your insulin resistance, your diabetes, and of course, that midlife weight gain. It's really one of the most strongest and most underappreciated links, this sleep and metabolic function. The second reason sleep really matters for us is a cardiovascular disease. You know, heart disease is the number one killer of women, and sleep plays a very major role. Insufficient sleep will increase your blood pressure, raises inflammation in your body, disrupts your cholesterol balance, and increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. Women who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours per night have a much higher risk of cardiovascular disease, even if your diet and exercise are controlled for. So sleep is not just passive rest, it's not optional, it's active cardiovascular repair. And the third thing that we want to look at is mood, cognition, mental health. Sleep deprivation hits the female brain really hard. Chronic poor sleep is linked to anxiety, depression, irritability, emotional reactivity. I mean, we don't need scientific studies to tell us this, right, girlfriend? I mean, we live this. Brain fog, memory problems, increased risk of cognitive decline as we get older. In midlife, when estrogen is already all over the map, lack of sleep amplifies our stress sensitivity, the feeling of being overwhelmed emotionally, feeling not like ourselves. And it's not because we're weak or, we're not on top of our lives. This is neurobiology. So some of these reasons that you don't necessarily catch right away, you might see a person who doesn't have a lot of midlife weight gain, who's skinny, but if they're not sleeping, they might be running in the background silently cardiovascular risks or Alzheimer's risks, or skinny people can get diabetes too. So we're not just talking about weight loss here and being skinny. We're talking about really aging strong and how important sleep is to that in so many ways you might not have realized. So the big picture, and this is why it matters so much in midlife. For women, especially at our age, sleep is foundational. Without it, your metabolism can't regulate, your hormones can't stabilize, and your nervous system stays in fight or flight. So sleep isn't a luxury. It isn't like a reward when you go on vacation. It is preventative medicine. It's like taking your multivitamin, flossing your teeth, having a daily shower, all the things. We'd never go out of the house with greasy hair, but we would go without sleep. And so, will you please take this seriously, my friend? It's time to really be proactive with your health. Now, I want to talk about sleeping pills because when you haven't been getting enough rest and you're starting to feel pretty frantic, this is what the doctor has to offer, right? And for a short-term fix, it may be just the thing. But for many women, it becomes their go-to. They feel like that's their only option. And here's why I want you to think twice about sleeping pills. First, they don't fix your sleep. They actually work to sedate your brain. So they don't create natural restorative sleep. They sedate the nervous system. They anesthetize it to a certain degree. This means that you don't have the same cycle of sleep. You're not getting the same REM sleep. You're not getting the same deep sleep, non-REM sleep that you need. This is going to affect your memory consolidation because a lot of that is done at these various cycles of sleep. And so many of our hormones that repair, rebalance overnight, there's a certain cycle to that. If we're skipping steps in the sleep cycle, then our hormones aren't going to have a chance to get the balance that they need. So you may be unconscious and think, oh, 8 hours has gone by, I slept. But when you wake up, do you feel that you're not as refreshed? You feel a bit foggy? Maybe there's some anxiety. Over time, your brain will become less capable of producing sleep on its own. So sedation is not really ideal. The number two reason why I want you to really think closely about sleeping pills is you get that tolerance building up. You can become dependent on them, and something we call rebound insomnia. Sleeping pills are meant for a short-term application, but many women end up with using them for years. The same dose, and you've probably been down this path, we all have, the same dose stops working. What used to work doesn't work now. So we have to go back to the doctor and beg to have our doses upped. And stopping the pills, if the doctor says, well, I want you to try without, or they refuse to renew your prescription, which I respect where they're coming from, but this leads to that rebound insomnia. The insomnia comes back with a vengeance, and it's worse than it was before you started the sleeping pills. And this creates that cycle of dependence. I can't sleep without it, so I take it and I never relearn how to sleep. And for midlife women, the hormonal changes already make sleep so fragile. So dependence it's just another step in the wrong direction and leaves us feeling even like we're more behind the eight ball. The third reason, and I think this is a very compelling reason, because I've had such close friends in the last year being diagnosed with osteoporosis. So it is really fresh on my mind, is when you have a sleeping pill type sleep, the next day you're at a greater risk for a fall. And it also comes with permanent cognitive issues and mood changes. And this is especially relevant after age 50 and for my clients and friends who are dealing with osteoporosis. Because it is scientifically documented that sleep medications increase our risk of nighttime falls and fractures. So, getting up in the middle of the night to go pee and you fall. Even the next morning, you can still have grogginess and not even really realize how groggy you are. And that can come with poor balance. You also will notice more memory and concentration problems. And we hear more about depression and something called emotional blunting, which means we just kind of go into that gray zone. That's what my experience of depression has been is everything's just like blah. Nothing's really great, nothing's really bad. And being on sleeping pills can bring that on. So long-term use has also been associated with increased risk of cognitive decline, especially if we combine with alcohol and other medications. So if you're having a glass of wine at night because you're exhausted and you deserve to have a little pleasure, and then you need a sleeping pill to go to sleep, that combination is extremely dangerous to your brain. And we don't want to get to the point where we're old and dotty, right? If that disease comes to us, it comes to us, but I'm going to do everything I can to try to prevent it. The other thing is if we are getting ready to go to bed and we take a sleeping pill, but we also have a sore shoulder or a sore back, or we're having leg pain, and we're going to take a couple pain medications along with a sleeping pill, those interactions are very risky for our cognitive health. And I have to admit, a lot of us have a glass of wine at night to relax, right? And then take a pill so we make sure we sleep. I know. And who can blame us with the level of shit we're handling every day? So I want to give you the bigger truth and some really good news. Sleeping pills are bad and they can be very helpful in the short term. I've had clients, for example, who've been widowed suddenly. Well, you can kind of understand why it might be necessary, or just around some surgeries or something where you just need a little helping hand. Acute stress or a crisis. Yeah. But as a long-term solution, they mask the real issue, they weaken the brain's sleep drive, and they keep your nervous system from recalibrating. So the good news, yay, good news. Sleep is a learnable skill, even in midlife. Now, I want to really come in here and give you a real big encouragement to look into my sleep solutions course. It's like $29, my friend, but it has a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today included in the course, like sleep meditations and evening yoga. And you can use this resource to help you as you learn more about sleep. So before we get into the five secrets, I just have to just repeat that word learnable. It's a learnable skill, which means that these tricks do not work the first time you try them. You are learning about sleep and it takes time. Here's what I mean. A bajillion years ago, I took piano lessons and I did not sit down and play Chopin. I started with silly little finger drills that were super boring. But those scales progressed to a little tune, and well, I never practiced enough, so Chopin was off the table. But you get the picture. During those boring practice drills, I was creating the neurological connections that trained my mind and body to play the piano. Now, when you practice your sleep skills, you'll get better at sleeping. And that's the truth of it. So, first skill we're going to talk about today is nervous system regulation. You hear a lot of buzz about that nowadays, but in the yoga world where I come from, we've been doing it for millennia. And there's a lot more detail about nervous system regulation in my She Mindfulness program. I'll link that to the show notes. But for today, let's just highlight that it's your automatic wiring, the nervous system that decides if it's safe to go to sleep or not. You know that antsy feeling that your limbs just won't settle? That's nervous system dysregulation. You know the racing, repetitive thoughts? That's nervous system dysregulation. You know how you don't notice your shoulder all day, but when you try to settle to sleep, it just starts killing you? That's nervous system dysregulation. And you may think of these symptoms as the reason you can't sleep, but flip it around. These symptoms are why you are these things that are coming up, the shoulder pain, the restless thoughts, they are symptoms of why you can't sleep. Your nerves are misfiring, and that's the underlying truth. I have so much I want to teach you about this topic, but I have to stay focused. Like I said, if you're interested, the She Mindfulness program does talk a lot more about nervous system regulation and how this factors into things like weight and sleep and having energy to get to the gym, all that stuff. But I want to just pick one topic in nervous system regulation right now to teach, and let's do breath. Breath speaks the language of your automatic wiring. To convince your nervous system to relax, try extending the exhale part of your breath. So, classically, what I teach is you inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for a count of 8. and do this for about 5 minutes or so. So, do you want to try about 3 rounds right now? You can do this almost anywhere you are. You're breathing in and out through the nose, so no one has to really hear you. Let's try it. I should just say that if I count out for 8 on the exhale and you run out of breath to breathe out, just see if you can pause and wait for me to say time to inhale, if that's okay. If you feel at all dizzy or uncomfortable, don't listen to me. But let's just try 3 breaths, just so you get the rhythm of it. So exhale to prepare, and then let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's all there is to it. So when you practice extended exhale breathing, you may not immediately fall asleep, but you are learning about how to allow relaxation. And as with any new skill, the more you practice, the faster it takes hold. So consider this breath work practicing maybe 3 times per day for a week or so, and then evaluate your overall ability to talk yourself down out of the tree, to become a more relaxed person. Maybe morning, before lunch, before bed, something like that. Commit to it for a week and see what happens in your own life. Because, like I said, these tools are things that I use in my own lab, my own bed. Now, the second tool that I want to talk about to help you with your sleep is blood sugar stability. Now, if you link back to episode number 46, I'll put that in the show notes. I talked in detail about insulin, blood sugar spikes, and cravings. So I highly recommend you go back and catch that one. Suffice it to say that if you are getting up in the night to nibble, or if you think you have to have a bedtime snack so you won't get hungry through the night, you probably have blood sugar issues. If you feel bloated by day's end and puffy in the morning, blood sugar issues. Again, so much I want to teach you, but I need to focus. I want to just talk about one thing you can do to help with this blood sugar issue, and that's eat enough protein throughout the day. Most of us need to aim for around 30 grams of protein per meal. And we don't want to load all our protein at dinner, ladies. We want to spread it out. And here's why that's important. Protein slows glucose absorption. When you eat carbohydrates by themselves, blood sugar can rise quite quickly. And then it also falls quite quickly. And these crashes are stressful for the body. So, for example, if you're having a piece of toast before bed, a bowl of cereal, a bowl of popcorn, a chocolate, um, a glass of juice, these are all things that are going to, they're carbohydrates and they're going to convert to blood sugar quite quickly. They're going to push up your blood sugar, and then they can trigger, then your blood sugar will crash because it doesn't take long to process them. And then that will trigger cortisol or stress, even adrenaline, which will wake you up in the middle of the night. So, what you eat throughout the day has a tremendous effect on what you feel like nibbling on before bed, and what you nibble on before bed can have a real effect whether you sleep through the night or not. Protein provides amino acids. These amino acids are used to make serotonin, melatonin, and GABA. Serotonin, feel good hormone. Melatonin, what tells your body that it's getting dark, it's time to go to sleep. And GABA is that nice, calm, I'm on top of things, the world is okay, I feel safe, that kind of hormone. And so amino acids that are in proteins are necessary to manufacture these hormones. So again, if you're not eating enough at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then you're going to be prompted to snack at night before bed. Usually carbs are the things we crave because that's the way we're wired, and we're not going to have those hormones produced that will support our sleep. And there are all kinds of hormones that support relaxation, and this is why spreading protein across the day matters. I know that many women don't get very much protein at breakfast. Sometimes they even skip lunch too. This pattern really destabilizes your blood sugars throughout the day. It increases cortisol levels throughout the day and really sets the stage for poor sleep. So, to give your nervous system that steady sense of safety, you've already practiced your breathing for nervous system regulation. Let's feed it too. So, spread your protein out somewhat evenly throughout the day. And it matters at night what you've ingested all day long. And the third thing I'd like to offer is light. There is a little command center right back there in the middle of my brain called the pineal gland. It reads the light in the room, and then it decides whether you should be up and about or sleeping soundly. And it gives you these instructions via hormones such as melatonin, we mentioned before. There are common sense ways to reset your pineal gland and the hormones that help regulate your circadian rhythm by paying attention to the light around you. I'm going to give you actually two secrets in this regard. First, get outside first thing in the morning. There is a unique combination of yellow and blue light within the first 2 hours of sunrise. Your pineal gland will read that clearly. It's up and go time. It will build natural energy even after a night of poor sleep. And I can speak to that directly. It only takes about 10 minutes, maybe even less, but it has to be direct sunlight outside. Second, oh, and if it's cloudy, there's still daylight, right? So you're okay. Second, reduce exposure to overhead lights from 7 p.m. onward. And this is really important and something we often neglect. Use a desk lamp to do your reading at night. Or if you have to get up and use the bathroom through the night, make sure you have a night light. You're not flicking on the overhead light. If you have to go down to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, use the stove light or something. Don't use the overhead light. The pineal gland will again read the room and gradually increase the melatonin as you get closer to bedtime. If the light is fading, if you keep flicking on overhead lights, it gets really confused and dysregulated. So this is so easy to do once you're aware of it, right? Follow the light, my girlfriend. Now, the next trick I'd like to offer, number five, is stretching. No surprise that a yoga teacher is going to come up with this, right? Inside the She Mindfulness program, I teach a specialized yoga routine for before bed that combines breath and movement. But you can get similar results from any mindful movement that is timed with breath. I mean, you've probably noticed that you do feel calmer after a yoga class. I love that effect. And here's why it's so important to recreate that before sleep. Your brain loves rhythm and predictability. We're really just being kids. The brain reduces threat detection. It quiets excessive mental chatter and decreases amygdala activation. The amygdala is back here and it's where we go, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. So that will be decreased when you're stretching softly. And this is why mindful movement feels different from exercise. It helps to regulate our system, it doesn't rev it up. So also, many people carry chronic low grade tension in their body all day without realizing it. You know, tense jaw, tense shoulders, back, belly, all gripped, tense hips. And when you hit the pillow and all those aches and pains and creaks, well, they really magnify, don't they? So moving slowly with the breath sends the signal that nothing bad is happening. It reduces the protective muscle guarding the tension is brought on all day and helps the body let go of that stored tension. So feeling safe is the prerequisite for relaxation. And when we live our days so rushed and anxious and feeling alone a lot of times, our attention is fragmented. Part of us is always somewhere else rather than right here and now. Mindful movement can bring a sense of coherence that is deeply soothing. It restores a sense of wholeness and safety that is mandatory to release into sleep. So let's recap. If you're dismayed at your menopause belly, at your brain fog, or mood issues, poor sleep is a big part of that picture. And sleeping pills are not the final answer. They don't replicate proper cycles of sleep and can mask the real issues, cause some nasty risks for us, like falls and depression. We instead today talked about 5 secrets to build the skill of better sleep. Here's the 5 again. Extended exhale breathing, adequate protein spread over all 3 meals, early morning light, no overhead lights after 7, and easy bedtime stretching. Now, this is such a big topic. These 5 secrets won't solve every sleep issue, I know. But take these to heart and practice this learnable skill. Build the skill of sleep again. Now, if you want more support, I have 2 suggestions. First, there's my Sleep Solutions course. As I said, it costs $29 and it contains the practice resources to support your skill building. There's an evening stretch routine, a sleep meditation, and a few other things in there. Or you can take your Renaissance deeper with the She Mindfulness program. You can tackle all these issues in a systematic way with lots and lots of group support. I'll put links to both of these in the show notes. So please share this podcast with a friend. Let's help as many women as we can get to feel stronger and happier and energized. I'll see you again soon. Hey, girlfriend, if you're really enjoying this podcast, and I sincerely hope you are, would you consider booking a call with me? I mean, I melted off the menopausal weight. I got my strength and energy back at 60 years old, and now I'm trying to help hundreds of women feel stronger, happy, and more energized with my She Mindfulness program. This is what you already know from yoga, organized into a deceptively simple, step-by-step protocol. For a short time, you're invited to book a free 30-minute consult where we can figure out together if the She might work for you to help you sleep better, feel more fit, and boost your mood. Click on the link now, and we'll talk soon.